Welcome back. First of all, let me say thank you to everyone who's been following our adventure to this point. I haven't been able to find the motivation, time, or creative flow to finish this series, but all of the comments and interest both online and in person in our tour has finally given me the boost I needed to get this stuff done. If you've been following along, you'll remember that my front brakes had completely failed yesterday on day 10, which caused a few different crashes, but one in particular that smashed me, the front end of my bike, and my chainsaw up pretty good. At this point I was so injured and so tired that I didn't think that it was wise to keep going. But I have a very hard time calling it quits once I've started something. This was a bit of my conversation with myself as we descended into Lowell the night before.
So I'm rolling off this hill. I got no front brakes. I got no helmet light, so I can only see about 30 feet in front of me. So I'm just going slow so that I don't have a corner surprise me and go flying off a cliff. I'm just slowing Colby and Luke down, and those guys definitely have what it takes to finish the tour.
You might recall that during this descent I had the idea come to my mind that whether or not I could fix my front brakes was likely the key to being able to continue on or not. Obviously without brakes it was pointless to keep going. So after getting into Lowell, we got some snacks and we set to work. That night we tried everything we could think of to revive my brakes. Nothing worked. I remember thinking that it seemed impossible not to be able to fix them. They were just brakes. They're really not that complicated. We knew that it had to either be the hydraulics, the calipers, or maybe something with the master cylinder at the hand control. But nothing we tried brought them back at all. Eventually, and at way too late of an hour, I called it. I made the devastating decision that my tour was over. Unfortunately, the answer I had received was no brakes, no go, and now I knew that it was no go. For me at least. Luke and Colby knew it too, though they were even more reluctant to admit it than I was. They're the best teammates anyone could ask for. They would have willingly and happily drugged me and my bike the remaining 550 plus miles to Sundance Mountain if I asked them to, without even questioning it. But what kind of teammate would I be if I let them?
Come back tomorrow. You know I might admit I wanted you to stay.
The next morning, I woke up early to help in any way I could. That really just mainly consisted of wiping the rain off of Luke and Colby's seats for them and giving them any tools that I had that they might need. The mood was heavy. We all just wished that I could keep going with the team. Yet, we also knew when we started this adventure that there was only about a 15% success rate, and much worse than that for the legacy route. So, to even have two of us still in it and able to press on was phenomenal, and for Luke and Colby to finish would require their complete focus and energy. Well, it's the morning of day 11. I can't go. My foot's probably broken and my front brake won't work anymore. So Luke and Colby are going on without me, which honestly is probably for the best. I'm I'm dead weight at this point. My bike is as broken as my body. These boys are in here getting ready for extended sea diving. Yeah. I hate to stay.
No, right. Leaving you behind.
You guys will go faster and smarter without me.
We're definitely not as prepared without you.
Watching Luke and Colby disappear heading down the highway without me was a torture that's hard to describe. I almost decided to just jump on my busted up bike and follow in spite of all that had been decided. But I didn't. After 10 days, 1,905 miles, more crashes than I care to admit, and giving it everything that I had in me, the ultimate Tour of Idaho attempt was over for me. At this point, there were now 2 different stories to tell to get us to the end of this adventure. Mine, and the far more exciting one, the remnant of Team That's What She Said, Luke and Colby's story. Let's get mine out of the way first. The rest of my story goes like this. After watching Luke and Colby ride away, I headed over near the small store which had the only Wi-Fi, and I called my dad and brother Gabe, who were headed north to pick us up at the finish line. I told them I had not been able to continue, and they said that of course they would be willing to come and pick me up. Unfortunately, I had bailed out of the tour in exactly the worst possible place that I could have, at least as far as proximity to my dad and Gabe's route. They were about 4.5 hours away by truck in Butte, and the only way to come and pick me up required an out and back route for them. This meant a lot of driving, and they wondered if I would be willing to ride my bike to Kuski to meet them. This would shave about 1.5 hours off of the drive. I agreed and said I'd hit the road around 9:30 or 10, which would put me in Kuski at about the time they would get there. Plus, to be honest, a couple more hours of sleep sounded like heaven to me. I could barely think straight, and riding down the highway in the rain with no front brakes seemed like it might be at least a little bit safer with a more clear head. I actually remember feeling really guilty heading back to the warm cabin, knowing that Luke and Colby were out there in the rain and mud. But because of exhaustion, as soon as my head touched that pillow, I was out. Luckily, I had set an alarm, or I may have slept for a couple of days, but I woke up in time, packed up all my remaining gear, and rode down the highway to meet up with my dad and Gabe.
Hey. Yeah. Oh.
So after switching back from bike to truck again, which was odd to say the least, We drove back through some amazingly beautiful country, and I got to see some of Idaho that I had never seen before from a paved road. We eventually made it to Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and stopped for lunch. After lunch, I wanted to try to find a dirt bike repair shop to fix my front brakes. Gabe and my dad had their bikes with them, and believe it or not, if I could, I still wanted to ride, especially some short, easy, and more enjoyable miles for a change. This, coming up, is the reason I'm sharing some of my story first, if at all, instead of the real show, which is Colby and Luke. The guys at Big 4 Motorsports were really good dudes, as most dirt bikers are, and they let me put my bike up on their lift and use their tools to try to diagnose the issue with my brakes. I started by buying some new brake fluid and thinking I would reverse bleed the line to get any air bubbles that may have formed out of the line. As soon as I pulled the brake lever to release the pressure, I saw it. I saw the problem. And it was impossibly simple. So simple that I was in complete disbelief that we had not noticed it. The banjo bolt near the brake lever had vibrated loose and was leaking brake fluid. One turn of a wrench instantly fixed the problem. Now some might say it was just stupidity or sleep deprivation or exhaustion that caused not one but 3 highly experienced dirt bikers to overlook such a simple repair. I mean, I saw it within seconds once I had it in that shop. Yet, I know, and I can still feel it in my bones, that it was some kind of divine intervention that blinded us from seeing the leak that night. I feel strongly that something very bad would have happened had I continued. But, of course, as these things often are, I can't prove it. After fixing my bike, my dad, Gabe, and I enjoyed some epic yet leisurely trail rides and some relaxing days and nights, while Luke and Colby continued to suffer and fight to finish the tour. The rest of Colby and Luke's story helps me to know that it was meant to be for me to quit that night. And now, I'll see if I can tell their story as best I can. Neither of them wanted to try and take my GoPro, and I can't say that I blame them. It's just another distraction that isn't needed on a fight for your life adventure like the Tour of Idaho. But, because they didn't take it, all I have is their phone photos and videos that they took. I do still have their tracks and the route, and I still hope that they'll come and let me interview them someday for a final wrap-up episode. But for now, I'll do my best to fill in what they experienced. So after leaving Lowell, they went down the highway a few miles and turned off on Pete King Creek. This would take them up to East Waldy Trail and then up to their first challenge point of the day, Waldy Lookout. This footage is from the grit ride we did. That series is coming up soon, hopefully. But Luke says that this is kind of what it was like, but worse for the entirety of day 11. They said that for most of the day they were just riding up rivers. Luckily the dirt in this region was more rocky, if that's the best way to describe it. It allowed for some grip, but it was definitely still problematic to say the least. Colby had a couple pretty bad crashes down some hills where they had to work really hard to get the bike back upright and on the trail.
Alright, we're walking up the stairs to look out. It's raining. It's cold. It's not real cold, but it's wet. Everything Luke and I have is wet. I'm videoing for Caleb. That leg probably don't need this, but my butt's glad to get off the seat for a minute.
Oh, videoing. Oh, we're videoing for Caleb. We missed him, but we're gonna keep trekking along. It's wet. Really wet.
It's way wet.
We're way up on the top of the tower. So I wish I could hold it while I rode. Neither of us are GoPro people.
No.
We're not good at it, so too bad.
Whoa, the whole tower shaking.
We're on top of this tower. We're above the house. There's our bike way around there.
Waldy Lookout, they headed back down and got on Smith Creek Road. Then they turned onto Middle Butte Trail and took that to their second challenge point, Fish Butte. From Fish Butte, they went down to jump on Fish Butte Trail. At the bottom, they took Fish Creek Trail over to Obia Cabin.
But we may have to help each other up it.
I'm videoing the trail again.
Oh,
Dude, that was a beast. It's so wet. You can't see anything. Freaking hands.
might as well just go jump in the creek.
Yeah,
Just
that
how wet
like
it got.
for a minute there, I enjoyed the splash in my face. Like it was splash every leaf. It's a mess, Caleb. We're missing you. Oh, I went off the trail twice. I went way off the trail. I'm gonna flip it sideways now. That would probably mess it up. I better not. Went off the trail once. Went off the trail again. I'm riding like warm trash. Luke's worked harder helping me get back to the trail than riding his bike.
Whatever.
So Caleb, I took your place.
Keep at it.
Yeah, keep at it.
I tried to find out more about this strange cabin out in the woods, but there was very little info. I found an article titled A History of the Clearwater National Forest by Ralph S. Space. In this history, under Obia Creek, it states, there are two stories about this name. One states that two hunters, one of them being Russian, came upon some elk here. The Russian called out, I got Obia, meaning I got two, or I got two elk. The other story is that it was named after an early prospector in this area. The second story seems a lot more likely to me. I also Googled what Obia means. Google said that Obia, in African folklore, is a gigantic animal that steals into villages and kidnaps girls on behalf of the witches. Maybe it's a good thing the boys didn't linger here too long. From the Obia cabin, they would stay on Trail 2240 for a bit longer, then take a right onto Trail 225. This trail would shortly turn into a difficult, loose, steep, long, switchbacking section known to all who know as Ant Hill. Also known as their fourth challenge point. After conquering Ant Hill, they stayed on Trail 225 until it junctioned with the Boundary Peak Road. Followed that for several miles until it merged with the Lolo Trail, then the Pierce Loxaw Trail, and then the Lolo Wietus Trail. They would jump off here onto the Lean-To Connector Trail, and then take the Lean-To Ridge Trail down to Wietus Guard Station for their fifth challenge point. From the guard station, they crossed the Wietus Bridge and followed Wietus Creek for about 8 miles, until they came to the junction of Wietus Creek and the Clearwater. Luke was telling me that he and Colby stopped here and briefly considered calling it quits, as this would be the closest they would be to Superior without having to traverse the Windy Bill wilderness. They were cold, tired, and soaked, and I have no doubt that it was tempting. But they were committed and decided to press on. They followed the Clearwater for a bit until they jumped off on the Windy Ridge Trail. This would take them up to their sixth challenge point, Cook Mountain. From Cook Mountain, they only had to cross Windy Bill. And I'm saying only very sarcastically, if you couldn't tell. Windy Bill is notorious for not being cleared of downfall and being difficult to even find in many places. Luke and I struggled quite a bit in 2021 to even find the trail, and eventually we decided to go the long way out and around after cutting trees for a couple hours with no end in sight. Luckily for Colby and Luke, and largely thanks to Sean Smith, who is an absolute legend by the way, and a soloist Tour of Idaho finisher, Windy Bill was clear enough to ride across, and they made it to Windy Bill Saddle by about 6 o'clock. From Windy Bill Saddle, they had to take the aptly named Switchback Hill down to Scurvy Saddle, and then head up to Scurvy Lookout for their final challenge point of day 11. As you can see, they were at the lookout by 7 o'clock, 6:49 to be exact. Yet, don't think for a minute that day 11 was anywhere near over at this point. It was still another 60 miles down into Superior where they would be finished for the day. This could put them into Superior between 9:30 and 11 o'clock p.m. they estimated, depending on trail conditions and if anything else went wrong. The temperature was also going to be dropping with the setting sun, and they had been completely soaked to the bone all day. Facing 60 more miles down muddy, slick 2-track, gravel roads, and finally a fast, windy highway in the rain and in the dark, made them wonder if they should just spend the night at Scurvy Lookout rather than risk hypothermia or worse. Yet, the prospect of a warm motel room, and possibly even some hot food, made them keep pushing onward, though most, if not all, restaurants would probably be closed in Superior. Without me as dead weight, they had a chance to make it before everything was closed. Just kidding. Actually, I'm not kidding at all. If I had been with them, beat up and slow as I was, we wouldn't even have been here at Scurvy Lookout for hours at best. And it's very likely that I would have been heading somewhere warm in a life flight helicopter. You'll see why their speed was critical for them, especially on this day. They had been riding at a really great pace, rarely stopping, and when they did, it was only for a few minutes before getting right back after it. They were even able to make pretty decent time down into Superior, given the terribly slick and freezing conditions at higher speeds. But it was still not quite fast enough to make it before all the restaurants were closed for the night. They rolled into Superior right around 9:30 or 10 p.m., nearly frozen and soaked through. Their hearts sank as they realized hot food was not going to be an option, and they started to head towards the Big Sky Motel, at least hoping for a warm room and maybe some gas station snacks. Colby said he was shivering uncontrollably as they checked in. They grabbed a quick hot shower and got dry for the first time in the last 12 hours. Then they started searching for two things, a laundromat and food options. They saw that a local bar, the Four Aces bar to be exact, might still be open, and that a laundromat near the bar had a closing time of 11 p.m. If they hurried, they might still make it to get clean, dry clothes, and they wondered if the Four Aces would still be serving food. Luckily, the Four Aces was still serving food, but only for a few more minutes and then the kitchen would be closing. So they ordered a large pizza and some garlic knots, and then they went to see if the laundromat was open. By some miracle, the door on the laundromat was broken and therefore not locked, or it would have been closed. So they were able to clean and, far more importantly, dry their clothes. The pizza was exactly what they needed to boost their morale. In fact, Colby folded up a slice for the next day to stow in his pack for lunch. And the dry clothes were more than a miracle. Anyone who has been soaking wet and cold out on any trail, but especially the Tour of Idaho, knows just how miraculous dry gear was for the boys this night. Without it, it would have meant putting on back the same smelly and soaked through gear in the morning, when temperatures were at their coldest, and then immediately hitting the slick, muddy trails again. The wind and cold immediately freezes your gear and chills you all the way to your core. Your only hope at that point is to work hard enough to warm everything up from the inside out. Getting up early when it's cold and rainy to ride is hard to do on a great day, when you're fresh, rested, warm, and dry, let alone when you're soaked, cold, and after 11 of the most grueling and unforgiving days of your life. There's no question that dry clothes and a warm slice of pizza were truly the miracles that wouldn't have been realized had they gone any slower. Those two mercies, combined with the sheer iron will of these two, kept Team That's What She Said going for at least one more day.